Hey, yes, you, I mean you. You are awesome and we love you. Because you are right now listening to Afterward Gamers, the podcast where two nerdy Czech guys sit behind the microphone and this time deep dive into remasters. I am Matouš.
And I'm Michal.
Alright everyone, welcome back to Afterward Gamers. We're glad you're here with us. We are for the first time trying this with video. So if you want to see how we actually look like, much worse than you might imagine, then head on to the platforms.
Speak for yourself, okay?
Head on to the platforms that support video, like YouTube. We're definitely on YouTube, and we will experiment if other podcasting platforms support video. Some of them might do, so maybe you are already watching, and we're glad that you do. Anyway, I think that we should head on to the games that we were playing recently, because I don't know about you, but I've played some games.
Yeah, me too. I actually finally had time to play a bit more than usual.
Oh, awesome. Good for you.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of Hogwarts Legacy, obviously. Still haven't finished it. Well, first and foremost, I have two playthroughs now. I have one, my personal, and then I have one for the Twitch. So if you would like to join me on Twitch, the link is in the description. So you can come and join me. And then also we tried Satisfactory.
Yeah, this guy finally played.
I tried
one of my favorite games
for the first time.
Yeah.
It was fun, but I have to say, it's not my type of game. So I would probably not play it.
You're not that
myself.
much into sandboxes.
No, it's not about that. It's just that game is not that compelling to me. Like it's even about the survival games like Valheim or DayZ or Seven Ways to Die. It's always more fun with someone else. So
that's true.
It's not really a game that I would play by myself.
You're that much of a lonely loner.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What have you been playing?
Well, I have been playing the Metroid Prime Remastered. I talked about last time I pre-ordered, even though it was already out to stellar reviews. And it's been great. I have actually played this game before on the GameCube, but due to the obsolescence of the old control scheme, I never finished it. So now with the updated control scheme, which is actually really nice, they added the options to even customize it a little.
Cool.
So it was great, and I finished the game in not one sitting, like 3 or 4. But man, it was a great game, great entry in the series, and I hope some others will come to the series. And also, quite recently, I have to say this. I have played the Forza Horizon 5, the Rally DLC, which came a few days ago at the time of recording.
Wow.
And man, I was not disappointed. It's really fun. Just as I praised the Hot Wheels.
I saw the Hot Wheels just came on the Game Pass. So I might try it because I said in the first episode we talked about it.
No, but I think you are mistaking the Hot Wheels Unleashed for the Hot Wheels DLC for the Horizon 5.
Oh, maybe.
Because at the first glance they seem quite similar because same cars, same Hot Wheels tracks.
Okay.
But in the Forza, it's not playing toy cars on a toy roads, but in Forza it's like playing real cars on large scale.
Okay,
toy roads.
It's possible. I might just misread it or something. Yeah.
Well, I know you're not that into racing games, so anyway.
Not really. Yeah. I'm not ashamed of it.
Yeah, that's the awesome thing
about games. We are all gamers.
Yeah, play games you love. Yeah. Anyway, previously on Afterward Gamers,
I need to make some kind of intro music for this. Maybe.
Add some echo to my voice. You can do ASMR.
Yeah,
previously on Afterward Gamers.
Oh God.
Well, we talked multiple times about Justin Roiland, the founder of the Squanch games that made High on Life, and also co-creator and voice of both Rick and Morty. has been charged for domestic abuse, or like not charged. Well,
He
they
was
were
charged, and then he was charged, but yeah, the case was reviewed again this year.
And due to lack of sufficient evidence beyond a reasonable doubt, and I quoted that, the charges were dropped. So I guess it's a great news for all of us who liked his work, enjoyed his voice acting, writing, or games like High on Life, as I did. He said that he's still deeply shaken by the horrible lies reported about him.
Yeah.
Was kind of disappointed from all who immediately believed those things. And he plans to move forward, focus on creative projects, and clearing his good name. So it's still unclear whether he will return as the voice of Rick and Morty.
I hope so.
Whether he will return to Squanch Games.
It would be. I think it would be a great thing for Adult Swim to come, if he could come back, because it would definitely bring the fans back. But I have to say also about this whole thing that he was cleared of all charges, but still is shaken by it, and it's a more occurring theme, and who's this gonna hurt the most? It's gonna hurt the women who are actually abused at home, because no one wants to believe women now, because they can just make claims out of nowhere, and then it's shown that hey, it didn't happen, and this man is clear. And I don't even know if the lady who accused him was charged to anything, even basically destroying his life almost. But I just don't understand, like, was it for the money? Was it for just the fame of it?
Or just a bad breakup?
Yeah, maybe. And I'm mostly sad for all the women who are actually abused or molested at home, because now there's this disbelief in the air, because some of these women just make these claims which proved not to be true, and it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, if only she played video games and put her aggression into video games, and don't do any false claims. Come on.
Yeah, don't do false claims. Yeah. Well, speaking of voice actors, such as Justin Roiland, who again voices both Rick and Morty, and did a huge job on the High on Life video game. Sadly, in the age of 60, Lance Reddick left us last month. He was the voice of Commander Zavala in Destiny 2. He was also Silence in Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West.
He also had many other roles in video games.
Yeah.
But also he had roles in a lot of TV shows and movies. For example, we talked about Rick and Morty. He actually played in Rick and Morty the Alan Rails, the train guy in the episode Vindicators 3, The Return of the World Ender. Quite a fun episode. Yeah. It's a fun episode.
Yeah, it's what I love about most of the video games, when either it's a player or actor or a developer, when they die, people are actually, usually when it's an online game, people are doing like funerals for the actor or the person. Sorry. So in Destiny 2, a lot of players were just standing next to the character of Commander Zavala and paying respect to Lance Reddick, and it was I had a tear in my eye, to be honest. I have urged to turn on Destiny 2. Again, you might think whatever about this game, I'm not gonna take it. I liked it. I don't mind it. And just to hear his voice. His voice is amazing. He also voiced recently, if you are a fan of D&D or Critical Role, the show called The Legend of Vox Machina, which is basically based on the campaign of said show. So He voiced one of the dragons in the show, and yeah, his voice is so iconic.
And also
he's a legend in voice acting community.
And not just voice acting, like he acted in many movies, as we mentioned. And for example, quite recently, you can see maybe one of his last works ever in John Wick 4.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it yet, so please no spoilers in the comments. But I am planning to go into the cinema to see this movie and see him on the silver screen.
Actually. Yeah.
So yeah, we are deploying our Fs for Lance Reddick.
Yeah, respect. All right.
Yeah, thank you for all your amazing work in the entertainment industry.
Thank you very much.
All right, so let's deep dive into remakes, and not just remakes, also remasters, reboots, enhanced ports. You know, this topic is actually also almost a buzzword. It's not very uncommon to see them in the gaming industry, but the naming scheme, it can cause confusion with many gamers and apparently a lot of publishers and developers, because it's not just the lack of information which is which the publishers often have problem, and they, in the name of marketing, sometimes name remaster, remake, and vice versa. But the line between those is almost often very thin. Is it still a remaster? Is it partial remake or a full-fledged remake? What exactly defines a remake? Well, before we start talking more about these specific approaches to remastering, remaking games, let's talk about these buzzwords, what they mean, what define them, and what are their differences. So I think we should start with the port/enhanced port, and I think it's this should be quite obvious. Port is when you take a game and put it on a new platform. It relies very heavily on the original code and assets. It's typically on the same generation. Very often the ports are developed at the same time. Like, for example, Ubisoft does it, like Assassin's Creed is released on all platforms simultaneously. If it includes some extras and upgrades, it can be considered an enhanced port. Yeah. Sometimes it can include like extra, effect because the platform is more powerful. Yeah. It's not very common these days. So I actually took some game boxes with me to demonstrate a little. So we have some good ports.
Talk about enhancing the podcast
now. Yeah, right. So for a good ports, we can say Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition for the Nintendo Switch was a great enhanced port because it included the orchestra soundtrack, some extras, and 2D mode, which was present on the 3DS version but not on the other versions. And also great port is Dying Light Platinum Edition for the Nintendo Switch.
Wow.
They made a really great work on that one. So nice. It's a great game if you play it.
I mean, it's a Polish studio, so.
Yeah, it's Techland, yeah. So kudos to them. It's a nice port, works great on the Switch.
Yeah, I would also say The Witcher was pretty good on Switch too.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was hoping you would bring that up.
Yeah. I mean, I don't own Switch, but like porting is something that the company I work for does. So we're pretty good at recognizing good ports.
Yeah, and for bad ports, we have, for example, Bayonetta for the PS3. Don't get me wrong, Bayonetta is awesome, but the PS3 version, not so good.
Yeah,
I think you can tell the next bad port. I think it's on everyone's mind.
Yeah, I mean, come on, it's just been released last month, and good lord, The Last of Us Part 2 on PC.
Part 1.
Part 1, that's what I said. I didn't say
you said part 2.
Oh, did I? I mean the part 1. Guys, that didn't end well for the Naughty Dog. I mean, all the PlayStation ports for the PC didn't really have a good start, but this one is particularly bad. I don't own it because
we don't pre-order games.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't too.
Yeah. But I saw a lot of footage. I saw some streams, and damn, that's bad. Like
It's
not
problematic
just-
even on top of the line hardware.
you know, usually like with ports, usually you're dealing with bad frame rates and not as much as a visual glitches. But then what did they do with this? Like, did they just like, let's just take the PS5 code and just slam it on the PC and see what's gonna happen, and don't even consider the optimization for the PC at all. Visual glitches, frame drops. Goodness gracious, some requests are unplayable. Oh my god, it's so freaking bad. Like Naughty Dog, how did you screw this up so badly?
Well, actually, they took Iron Galaxy, the studio that is not very famous for bringing good PC ports, to do this one. So, I don't know. You would think they would gather a lot of experience over the time,
Yeah.
but what I would say for this, I don't necessarily blame the developers and everything for doing a bad job. I blame the one who decided that they will still release the
that's
game
true.
in this state. It should have stayed in the development for a few more months, maybe, to at least iron out the worst kinks. Yeah, the game or the port might not necessarily always come without bugs. It's sometimes very hard to catch them.
Yeah.
But like, you should not release game with game-breaking or obvious terrible bugs.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we both know, like, I started as a tester, you are a tester now, so, test the game. I mean, obviously, as Matos said,
And listen to the testers.
yeah, obviously you can't find every freaking bug in the game because that's impossible. But,
The
just
testers
fix the
usually know
biggest
about
one.
the bad ones.
Yeah, just fix the biggest one and you can patch it later, but just don't throw the games into the world in a state like this.
Yeah.
It's just
And you gamers, don't give them money for those.
Yeah,
Don't pre-order
come
the
on.
game. Buy it
Come
only
on.
if it's good.
Come
Or
on.
once it's good.
yeah.
I believe it can still be improved, but
Yeah, I mean, but it should with that price too. Like, how much is it, like $60, $70?
$70, I think, yeah.
It's an old game that just got a new code. The code, I mean, not code, but code, and just a little bit of improvement, and just slammed $70 for it, and that's crazy. I know Sony is not really best with their like practices, but
Come on, guys.
come on.
I think we should go away from this one.
Yeah, let's go, because we could spend the whole podcast here, and we don't want to do that.
Yeah. So remasters. It usually contains a lot of remastered assets, but not necessarily the code. It's still faithful to the original, and only a small amount of gameplay tweaks and changes is present. Usually it's to improve or polish some gameplay mechanics and some stuff. And there are some good examples, or not good example. Typical example is Skyrim, which was released to every possible platform ever since it came out. This is for the Series X, the anniversary edition, but there is the special edition, the Switch version, the Alexa edition, or whatever.
Alexa edition.
There's the one I talked about before, which is Metroid Prime Remastered.
Yeah.
Awesome game. Samus really kicks ass, and it's also maybe a link to the previously, because it's also one of my favorite female heroines in video games.
Heroines.
Yeah, it's a heroine. It's a she. It's a bounty hunter, same as Eren. It's
Okay.
not him. This character is not named Metroid. It's bounty hunter Samus Aran, a female. So just so you know, the more you know.
Okay.
But also some great ones were like Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I would also say the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt remaster, or they call it the.
It had some problems.
It had problems, but I would say it's CD Projekt Red. We talked about it. They are pretty good
They
at fixing
update
their
their
mess.
games,
They're
yeah.
updating the games. I saw a lot of people complain about, people will complain always. And another one is GTA 5. Like that game came out on a PS3,
looks great.
then PS4. Now it's coming on PS5 and Series X. Yeah, on the Xbox, like, and all the generations since PS3 and also on PC.
Yeah.
So I would say that technically a remaster, I would say.
Yeah, they added some effects like ray tracing, I believe,
yeah,
recently.
yeah, I think so.
It looks pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
So one more thing to point out though with the remasters, this is like remaster and remakes is where the line gets really thin. Is it still a remaster or is it a partial remake? Like for example, the Mass Effect or Metroid Prime maybe can be almost considered a partial remakes because in some of those games a lot of things may have been changed.
Yeah.
I think I would still consider those remasters, but I mean the line is thin, so you cannot always say this is exactly this. Not always.
Like, the thing is, we don't have like a definition. You know, no one like said like I'm gonna open a Wikipedia and I'm just gonna type out a definition of insanity. I'm gonna type out definition of remaster and remakes. It's just, you know, it's out there. Everyone is juggling with it, and no one really knows which is which. And we are not here to tell you what it is because we don't know either.
Yeah, and a quick tip if you're not sure. It may be a good idea to ask ChatGPT. I have tried, and it was actually quite good with deciding which is which, much better than a lot of publishers. So if you are a publisher, just use ChatGPT and call it a day. You know.
Wikipedia will run out of money. Jeez.
Well, I think we should also mention some bad, just briefly. Warcraft 3 Reforged.
Oh my gosh. Have you played the original?
I've played the originals like a lot, so many times with over network. And
I have to confess that game totally missed my radar when I was young. And I played just 5 years ago for the first time.
Oh.
So I had a lot of fun.
I
think I was with you too.
Oh yeah, that's quite possible.
Yeah.
It's a great LAN party game.
Yeah, it is amazing. I mean, I sucked at it, but
don't we all?
But all the Reforge, like Activision Blizzard. What we can say else? Like they're worse than EA now, and which is quite of a statement, I would say, because they have few successes here and there, like their biggest thing is now Call of Duty, which came out as a mess a little bit, but I'm talking about the Modern Warfare 2. Yeah, it's still a great game.
Diablo 4 is looking promising.
Yeah, well, yeah, but yeah, we're not gonna talk about the previous Diablo.
Let's move on to the other bad one that I think a lot of you will have on mind, and that is GTA: The Trilogy, the Definitive Edition.
Yeah,
that's all I'm gonna say about it.
Yeah, no, Rockstar, come on! Like, what was that? What was that? Like, what was that decision? Let's release it. No one will know.
It's easy to find out what it was, especially after they canceled a lot of other remaking projects.
Yeah,
it was a cheap cash grab. Yeah, people love those games, so let's just do something with it. Slap Definitive Edition label on it. Yay, free money.
And that's why I am so scared for the GTA 6 and then other projects, because who knows what's happening in the deep hive of Rockstar at the moment.
Yeah, they're not so much rock stars as they were before.
Ouch.
More like rock failures.
Gosh, jeez. Okay, let's move on.
Let's move on to the remake. So, what is a remake? Well, most of the game is obviously remade. Wow. Sometimes from scratch, sometimes some code is used, as we talked about the partial remakes. But usually, it's made almost all rebuilt. Usually, the story and genre is the same. Some core gameplay ideas are retained as well, quite often. But the gameplay can be significantly updated, changed, and modernized. A good example of a game that brings quite huge changes is Final Fantasy VII Remake. But I have also here 2 boxes. The Wonder Boy, the Dragon's Trap. It's a remake of the, I think it was Sega Master System or Sega Power Base. It's a platformer, quite a good remake, really nice.
I don't know that game at all.
Yeah, it was like an 8-bit platformer, and now it is with a nice hand-drawn graphics.
Cool.
It looks really nice. And also The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening for the Switch. They rebuilt the whole game. Quite cute graphics. If you look at it.
I know. that game. Yeah, I would also say one really good remakes is Resident Evil series.
Oh,
Resident
yeah.
Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, and now Resident Evil 4. God damn that! Like, if you saw the previous, like the old games, that's like quite a turnaround, and everything looks so like. I am not a fan of horror games. We already established that throughout this podcast, but I have urged to play this one because, God damn, it looks so good. And from the level design standpoint, it's also clever too. Like some of the stuff are really, to me, it's Japanese games, so to me it's just nonsensical, and I'm like, why is in the middle of a police station, like, why are you looking for gems instead of killing zombies and try to survive or whatever. But they look so good. And another one that's kind of in between the remake and remaster is the Demon Souls. Which I don't know if it is a remaster or remake, because the game was obviously like kind of made out from scratch, but they used a lot of the mechanics from the previous one. So, well, from the original release, which came on PS2.
I don't know.
I don't know, but
It's old.
it looks so good. It looks so beautiful. They definitely catch the atmosphere and the combat and everything of the previous game. Maybe way too much, because some of the stuff that's why we talked about it yesterday together. That's why we're not sure if it's a remaster or remake, because the game comes with a lot of flaws which was on the previous iteration. So
It's the same thing. Sometimes
but it still looks amazing. The sound-wise, it's much better. And on PS5, it just looks beautiful.
Okay, I think we should move on to the reboots now.
Yeah.
We could talk for a long time about a lot of these, and we
Yeah,
will
yeah.
give some space to those. So what is a reboot? It's usually a restart or a massive change in direction of an existing brand/franchise. One of the points of this is that very, very often continuity is sacrificed, and characters and story are reworked for the sake of rebooting the whole franchise. Good example, Tomb Raider 2013.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome game, but reboot of the series. Lara is completely different. The gameplay is very different from some of the older games.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Or like Doom 2016. It's also considered a
Doom
reboot of the franchise because
Doom
it's
16.
changed so much, but the one thing it retained is the fast-paced shooter gameplay.
Yeah, it's... oh, man. Doom 2016. That game is celebrating 30 years this year. Did you know that?
You mean the original?
Yeah,
Doom?
the original
Oh, yeah,
one, because it was out in 1993, which was also the year I was born. So I'm
So
turning
you're
30.
as old as Doom.
Yeah, I'm as old as Doom, which is God damn it. Yeah, but Doom 2016. Oh my gosh, that was such a. Have you played it?
Yeah,
I played
have
both
played
of the
it.
Tomb Raider.
I gotta say I like the Eternal quite a bit more thanks to
Yeah.
the better pacing. But yeah, the if I was in the mood for a fast-paced shooter gameplay, Doom 2016 was definitely a game to take for this.
And it was just a totally arena shooters and stuff like that were kind of like backing off. More realistic shooters were on the rise, like Call of Duty, Battlefield, and stuff like that. And then Doom 2016 said like, no, I'm gonna do this stuff my way. I'm gonna rip and tear through as a new franchise, and they nailed it. It's software nailed it, and it was kind of repetitive towards the end, but they
Still a
totally
great game.
redo it. Like they completely turn it around Eternal, and Eternal is so much freaking fun.
We could also talk about Doom games for some time.
Yeah.
But I think now that we know all about this, we should dive into the reboot for a little bit deeper than right now. So what do you think makes a good reboot, or why is it necessary or a good idea to do a reboot?
I don't think it's necessary to not everything. Definitely not for the for every game. I don't think it's necessary. Some of the games just are good as they are because they ended well and they don't need any type of reboot. What makes a good reboot? Everything that makes a good game, basically. Good mechanics, good story, good characters, polished gameplay, and on top of that, there's a cherry on the cake, amazing graphics. Yeah. So that's what makes a good reboot. It's just a good game. But also, I would say good reboot needs to continue the legacy that the previous games.
That's why I was
had.
wanting to say that the reboot should not ruin the franchise.
Yeah.
It should, like as we said, the good examples, the Tomb Raider 2013, Doom 2016, those continue the legacy yet in a maybe quite a different way, changing the story, taking same or different characters, rewriting them. But if it continues the legacy, it's really good.
You could still recognize that this is a Tomb Raider, this is a Doom. Like it's just you can distinguish it from other games.
Or refine it so well that even the fans of the old franchise would not be mad and would still enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean people will
that's
still
what
be mad.
can make actually a really good reboot. If even the OG fans like it, that means you've done the reboot really well.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, I 100% agree. Yeah.
I think one point why reboot might be in place is when the franchise is aging or the mechanics and stuff is kind of dated and riding into obsolescence because you took a turn that didn't really hit the mark for modern gamers. So reboot might be good to go back into the spotlight to undo some mistakes, sorry.
Yeah.
Redo the things that you did wrong and do them right this time.
Yeah. As I said, like I don't think every game needs a reboot necessarily, but if you choose to do it right.
Right.
Just do everything I said, what makes a good game, and just don't
just make it good.
Just make it good.
Make it a good game.
Yeah.
If it's a good game, we probably won't be mad.
Yeah.
But we still won't pre-order it.
Yeah, most likely not.
Okay, so I think we should now go for the big topic of today, or like the biggest of one of the biggest of them all, and those are remasters. Like if you give a game fresh lick of paint, some small tweaks, little improvements here and there, and you just got yourself a remaster. What do you think makes a good remaster?
Again, it comes to just not fixing the mistakes that was done in the previous iteration, and just don't put it in the HD and just say this is a remaster. Here you go. Just make some improvements, like improve the gameplay and the life in the game. Just make it much better. A lot of games that are remasters, that what they struggle with, apart from gameplay and some bugs, is I find the UI needs to be reworked a lot of time for the remasters. Don't be afraid to just do a new UI which is better than the previous game, because let's be honest, old games the UI was
Kind of crap.
Kind of crappy.
I gotta say, kudos to Monolith Soft when they were remastering or maybe remaking. It's hard to say, the line is thin. The Xenoblade Chronicles, the definitive edition for the Switch, they redid the UI and it's really great. So yeah, that's one thing. I would also say a good remaster should not necessarily head for the remake. It should still try to retain the feel of the original game. Yeah. Like remaster is basically, then that goes for my next question. Should developers do remasters, or is there many of those? And they should do them when you have a game that is really, really good, or like is good, still holds up, but still needs some minor improvements, like the Metroid Prime, as I mentioned. Great game, still fun to play, but the control scheme was bad. So they redid the control scheme and as a bonus slapped a nice graphics on it.
Yeah. Like if developers should produce remasters, that's again question like why not? I think it's up to the developers if they want to remaster it, or it's more of a question of if will it be a good thing, like how good of a remaster it's gonna be. Like,
I mean, if you take it that they will do a great job.
if I'll take a great job, yeah, I'll take a remaster any day. Like remaster, but I just don't I don't need a remaster from a game that's 2 years old. Like, give me the old stuff, and optimize it for the new hardware. And
also a
new
game
software.
that don't really need those improvements and is still available via backwards compatibility. I'm looking at you, Last of Us Part 1 on the PS5. Xbox calls it a free next-gen upgrade.
Yeah.
And don't sell it for $70.
Yeah. That was
So
noted down.
remaster. What should not remaster be is, as we said with the GTA trilogy, a cash grab. It should be a way to bring some old but still good game to new, maybe generations of gamers.
Yeah.
And if it has nice graphics as a bonus, we're totally
Yeah. I think, I think that's the thing. Just make a good game. That's what it is about. Like,
I mean, don't make the good game worse.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that could be bad remasters.
Only
too.
better is allowed.
Yeah. And if you're doing remaster, like, just don't ask so much unless like you're redoing so much, then call it a remake and we can talk about the price. But remaster should not be as expensive as a new game, I feel like.
Or like a total remake.
Yeah.
If it's like the same old game with very few improvements, if any, then and you didn't spend too much time on it, I mean, it's better to be sold for a lower price. We don't really like to see overpriced remasters.
Yeah,
Again, looking at you, Last of Us Part 1.
Yeah, especially these days when, like, because of the war in Ukraine and Russia closing off the gas and everyone else is buying like stuff from anywhere else but Russia, especially in Europe, the price is like skyrocketed. And everything is so expensive. And we don't have the money to buy a $70 game.
Yeah, I mean, like the whole world is dealing with inflation right now.
Yeah.
Like most of the world, higher inflation rates than before. Yeah. But I mean, the higher price are in a way also a reaction to the inflation. But don't overprice stuff. That goes regardless of if there is a high inflation or not.
Yeah.
Don't
that's
overprice things that should not be overpriced. As easy as that.
Yeah, just recognize the price of the product and sell it for what its value for its value, not just because you want to just make money out of it. I would even differ. I would even say that if you put a smaller price on it, more people will buy it because if it's a good remaster, more people will buy it. Yeah. Because it's a good game and it has a relatively low price. More people will go for it because they don't want to pay $70 for your crappy games.
They want to play for a very good game.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I have a last questions for the topic of remasters, and that is, if you are excited for some upcoming remasters, or would you want some game remastered, and why?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like a remasters.
Well, remastered, like if you want something to be remastered, that means that it's already a good game, but it only needs so little, or maybe nothing, just a port from a 20-year-old hardware to a modern one. I mean, that's kind of what would you want remastered?
Like, I don't think remasters are really a thing that I want to play in general. I would rather have a remake, honestly. No, we're going to go talk about the remakes, but remaster, I can't really think of any.
Okay, well, I have two games, actually, that I would want to remaster. Still great games, but it would be nice to see them on modern hardware, modern platforms, maybe with some visual upgrades or some small tweaks. One is Driver San Francisco. It's an awesome open world racing game that actually has a story that is fun. And great gameplay, great multiplayer ideas for a racing game. It's quite sad that the multiplayer was dead very quickly. It came for PS3, 360, and PC, but on PC it's not easily obtainable. I think you can only redeem it if you have a code or something. It's that another problem that they don't prolong some licenses for. I don't know. Usually it's music or voice acting or whatever. But like it's not available on PC, and it's a fun game. It's a really good racing game. So just like there was Burnout Paradise Remastered, which brought very good racing game, which is open world. I think this one should be brought back too. And the other one, I hope you will agree with me, is Red Dead Redemption, the first one.
Oh yeah.
If it was remastered, for example, with the assets of the second one, you would already have half
remake,
of the work done. Well, partial remake maybe, but usually if just the assets are, it's still considered
but
remaster.
I agree, yeah.
But it was a great game. The gameplay was really tight, and the area was more compact, so it had a different feel than the second one. I really liked the first Red Dead Redemption, and having it improve, I would really love to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Red Dead Redemption, the first one, it's a really good game. That it definitely deserves at least a port to PC, if anything.
Yes. Yes, 100%.
We want it on PC. You did it with the Red Dead Redemption 2. Why not Red Dead Redemption 1?
Yeah.
Nah, I'm not going to complain more. It's useless.
Moving on. Remakes. Now the big stuff also. The rebuild of the game with maybe a lot more possible changes as compared to the original. Very often rebuilt from scratch, or like majority of the game can be rebuilt from scratch. What do you think makes a good remake? Once again, try to say something that you didn't say before.
Okay, I think what makes a good remake is improvement of the life in the game.
You
in
mean
general.
like the quality of life?
Quality of life, yeah, in the game. That makes a really good remaster. Taking remake, sorry. If you have old game, like for example, let's take Resident Evil 2, which was remaked. Old games, very very janky controls, and the shooting was really bad. The camera was absolutely terrible, and they switched to the camera behind the character. The shooting is way better. You don't just you can now shoot while walking, and you don't have to just stand and then aim with the crappy controls. So they did really good. On top of that, graphically beautiful. Yeah, you just don't. That's one thing about the remakes, is this: they just don't improve just the quality of life, but they also redo the graphics and everything from lighting to animations to the polygons and textures. Beautiful in the Resident Evil games, and also in the Final Fantasy VII. I would say looks good. It's not really my type of game because I just don't like JRPGs, but that's just me. I heard that it's amazing remake.
I really heard the big improvement is the combat gameplay, because I don't know about you, but I found that the turn-based combat typical for most JRPGs can get tedious really fast, and it's kind of outdated and obsolete, and you should totally not use it if you are a developer, unless it's like really, really, really good, just like in Persona 5, but still. If you can't do it good, which you probably can't. Just don't.
Yeah, there's only two ways how to make turn-based combat. Either really really good or really really bad. There is no middle ground for that.
Or make it a tactical, just like tactical RPGs like Fire Emblem or Triangle Strategy, which is something XCOM, a little bit different.
Like XCOM and Midnight Suns, for example.
Yeah, I would say a remake is, as you said, the visual changes are often a part of a remaster as well, very often.
Not as much though.
But in a remake, there are much more common, like increased effects or completely redid some visual stuff, which was usually the oldware was very often incapable of having. And I would say a big thing that can be in remakes, because for remasters it would be a lot more work if it was a console game. In remasters or in the original, you would just have those small areas that would be connected via loading screens. And remakes much more often allow for the games to be like, if you're rebuilding, why don't you make the world as a whole in one go? Because the modern engines can stream open world.
Yeah.
So that I would say is really nice. So would you think a remake is still the same game?
Yes and no.
Hard questions
when
today.
we look, yeah, good questions though. When we look at for example, the Resident Evil again, like it's still in the core. It's basically the same game, but with totally new gameplay, with totally new graphics, totally new systems and mechanics. So the story is still kind of the same. The place where it's happening is still the same.
The characters.
The characters are still the same. It's just game in a totally new visuals and new gameplay, new mechanics. So the line is very thin, I would say again,
Yes.
because
I guess it can differ game to game too.
yeah,
Like some remakes are much more different than the other ones and can like only give a little bit of the feeling or mood of, or like not mood, like the atmosphere, you know. But some are basically almost the same game, just much more modern, much more fluid, much nicer and polished.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, remakes. Like, there's also like that thin line again between remake and reboot, more like a soft reboot, because you can.
Well,
No, like, if some remakes totally it's like changes the story because the
Alright.
story doesn't make sense. It didn't really
Okay.
make much sense, or it wasn't. Some of the plots weren't that good in the previous games,
I
and
see what
players
you're
were
saying.
complaining about it, so they changed it. So that little thin line, like between remakes and a reboot, so or more like a
it can
soft
be
reboot,
sometimes, yeah. I see it more with the soft reboot
Yeah.
rather than the full-fledged reboot, because then it might not necessarily be. It may be the pre-reboot game
Yeah, the pre-reboot.
because you can add a little bit hooks to restart a series where
Yeah.
the sequel will be totally different.
yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Also, when I talked with a few of my colleagues, love you guys. One of my colleagues mentioned that or asked the good questions about remakes and game as a service. Like, can it be a remaster or even a remake after like 5-10 years of updates? For example, a great example would be I don't really play Fortnite, but it has been updated to Unreal Engine 5 and now looks like really different in terms of visual. It has been massively upgraded with the nanite lumen and all the fancy features.
So we're almost going to the land of philosophy, and I don't know if you know the theory of the ship of Theseus, when you have a boat, and then you replace
right.
the floors. Is it still the same boat? Then you replace the sails.
I
Is
see
it the
what
same?
you're saying.
And then you replace
Good point.
all the. Is this still the same boat, or there's another way? You take a boat, you replace everything, but the old wood and you will build another ship with it. So now, which one is the
Which one is
the
the
old
one?
one, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's like it's an interesting point of view that the game that's constantly evolving. Is it a reboot? I don't or remake. I don't think so. It's still the same game. It has the same title. It's just been updated. Like you for example, or like us as human beings, we are evolving too. Like we are just a blob of cells at the beginning, and then look at us, two almost 30-year-old. Now I don't know, men.
Men, we're men.
Yeah, we're men.
You're men. I'm men. We're men.
Yeah, but we look totally different than we did before.
Yeah, but
so.
there's a
but
joke
we're still
that-
the same person.
There's a joke that all your cells are replaced within 7 years. So if you see someone you haven't seen for 7 years, you don't have to say hi because they're a completely different person. Now.
Yeah. Technically, biologically, yes, but yeah, let's not dive into that. That's not why we're here.
So do you think developers should do more remakes or
yes.
do remakes over remasters?
I think more remakes than remasters.
Okay.
Because if that's the thing, if you're making a remaster, that you fiddling with the code and you can completely break it, right?
Good point. Good point.
So and then if you break it, then it's just easier to just rework it again. And
Makes sense.
most of the times, like unless you were doing very very soft remaster, you just put it into HD and put like the HD rendering, and that's all you're gonna do.
That's a remaster, yeah.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So
more remakes, more remakes over
yes,
remasters.
please.
I guess makes sense to me.
Yeah,
But yeah, I would, in some cases, I would rather prefer soft remake in some cases, because not a lot of games are bad. They just need a little bit of improvement, but not necessarily a full rebuild with major changes.
yeah. I mean, what I would like, I would love to see some like old games, like really old
which
games
ones?
with
Which
a
ones?
new. Oh, are we going there already?
Sure.
With a new code, just like then that's the thing. Like if you're improving the graphics, then you have to improve everything else because the graphic looks different. Maybe and then all of a sudden, okay, I need a different camera view and can't be just the same game as it before. So you need to remake everything else because you choose to just redo graphics. There's a lot of games I would love to remake. One of them is the Jedi Academy games.
Okay, yeah.
Like the old
good
ones.
games.
They are such a good games and they deserve a freaking remake.
Yeah, they had some remasters over the years.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think, you're right that they are, how to say it, slowly drifting into obsolescence.
Yeah.
Some gameplay mechanics and like control schemes.
Yeah.
Although adjustable on PC for sure, then it's it's not as good as it was when it was released.
Yeah,
So
that's
still
true.
a great games though.
That's true. I would also love to see a remake of the first Call of Duty games. Call of Duty 1, Call of Duty 2.
Mm-hmm.
They were so good.
Much better than the new ones, right?
Yeah, no. Like the new ones are not bad. Like I'm talking about the Modern Warfare series. The Black Ops and what was the other one called? Yeah.
Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4.
No. I'm talking
Advanced
about new
Warfare.
Black Ops. No one cares about Advanced Warfare. I'm talking about what was the latest one from the World War II?
World at War?
No.
World War 2?
No. Crying out loud. Jeez. It was like you were playing like as 5 like agents. It was, I don't know.
I don't know. Either.
You guys, we're probably just now screaming at the comments. It's this one. How could you not know? And it was really bad. But like, I feel like these games deserve a remake too. There's another game that I wanted to say. Obviously, we're getting the remake of The Witcher 1.
Yeah, that's
forward to it.
one upcoming you're excited about.
Yeah.
I knew you would say that. I knew you would.
I mean, come on.
Of course you would. Yeah. For me, like I also consider a remake maybe a second chance for some good ideas that didn't land in such a great game. And game I would want remade is Tron Evolution, because I really like the Tron series. I'm one of the guys that own both movies on a Blu-ray, and I have a lot of those games, or a lot of those. Like I think I have all the console ones, like the GBA and the DS version and the OG Xbox version of the Tron 2 Killer app and stuff. And the Tron Evolution is like the novel concepts of the Tron Legacy movie. Like it looks really good. And the game actually, like the Tron Evolution is my first platinum trophy on the PS3. It was still a very enjoyable game, but it lacked something. It lacked more care from I blame Disney here, because there was actually a studio that wanted to make an awesome open world game, which we all would love to see from the Tron universe. But Disney said, well, you have 1 year to make it. And the studio said, no, well, this is not doable in 1 year. So Disney gave it to Propaganda Games and then closed the studio shortly after the game was released, as far as I remember.
Oof.
So I would really like another chance for the Tron Evolution game. It had some nice ideas. The mood was definitely there. So that's one I would want remade. And what I am looking forward to, I hope some of you will agree with me. I have 2 games written here in my notes. One is remake of the Splinter Cell. They are actually rebuilding it from the ground up in the Snowdrop engine, which is actually the Ubisoft custom engine, which is pretty capable. It was able to run games like The Division, which have looked quite good, but also games like Mario plus Rabbids on the Switch or the Starlink Battle for Atlas. So it's quite capable and versatile engine. It's coming for PC, Xbox Series S and X, and PS5 in 2024, the next year.
Wow, nice.
And the second one, I think there you might agree with me more, is the Max Payne. I have played the original on the original Xbox, and yeah, it is dated now, and it has some issues like aim assist that hits the enemy even though you missed him or stuff like that. But it was the game that popularized the bullet time concept in video games. And the story is really cool too. It's
really
nice
depressing.
Yeah, and Remedy is working on rebuilding the Max Payne 1 and 2 actually as a one package in their Northlight engine, which you might know for games like Quantum Break or Control. So I assume we can expect ray tracing, maybe?
This completely missed my radar. I have no idea that they were remaking the Max Payne games.
They are.
That's cool.
Yay.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Indeed. I'm really looking forward. Once again, just like the Splinter Cell remakes, it's coming to PC, Xbox Series S and X, and PS5 in 2024. So, yeah, I'm really excited about those. And I think we actually have much more remakes on the I think maybe in this year. I think the Advanced Wars, the Reboot camp should be considered a remake, is coming to Switch in April, I believe.
Yeah, remakes are definitely like taking their pace, because it's basically because of Resident Evil and Final Fantasy. Like they did so well that now everyone wants a good remake. So companies obviously gonna catch on that. Some of them will obviously fail. We see which one will be. I'm honestly scared about the Splinter Cell because, goodness gracious, Ubisoft, what are you doing past few years? I mean, they're doing so bad at the moment. Like, I mean, what I heard from some people is that they are trying to, be bought by some others, but no one wants to buy them. It's so sad. I mean,
but they still have some potential, and
I'm really looking forward for the sorry to kind of segue. The Assassin's Creed Mirage looks really good. I have high hopes.
I hope it will be a reboot of the series.
Yeah, it will be a reboot of the series.
Or I say
at
I
least
hope.
soft reboot, I would say.
Yeah, I think they have some games lined up, and hopefully they will change their approaches for the better and improve the way they treat gamers and release some great games like the Splinter Cell remake coming, the Assassin's Creed, not just the Mirage, but the other games coming as well.
Yeah.
And I believe they are working on several other games from their franchises. I hope for example, the Far Cry series, like the 6 was great, but it needed someone who would actually think about the writing. So
Yeah.
I know there is a shortage of good writers for entertainment. I'm looking at you, Disney. You really don't have good writers so much. And so yeah, but I hope they will get someone to look at that and the gameplay is they have the gameplay formula and all the game needed was a really good and compelling, intriguing story.
Yeah. I just thought of another game that would be great as a remake.
Okay.
That would be a Metal Gear series.
Ah, okay.
That'd be great.
That's a good
Sadly,
thing.
it will not happen because Konami,
Yeah, I think they owns the brand.
Yeah,
But
they do.
it-
That's the
and
sad
I
thing.
think if they did it, it would be a mess as it was the Metal Gear Rising or something.
You mean Survive?
Or survive
Metal
maybe.
Gear
Yeah.
Survive?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, I have never really had a chance to play some of those, and I was thinking of getting them. I have like the GameCube, which had the Twin Snakes remake or remaster of the original Metal Gear Solid, but it's very expensive. So
I played Phantom Pain. That's Metal Gear for like
Five?
five.
Uh-huh.
That's we don't count Survive, so that's the latest one basically. Again, the story was for me like way too confusing. Like I don't know what Kojima is smoking, but like I don't get his games.
I guess you're not the only one.
Yeah.
From
So
what
like
I've heard.
story was like for like I don't know what I'm doing, but it was fun. It was freaking fun. The gameplay team and like the design team on that game, freaking brilliant people, I would say. Brilliant people who worked on that game, and it was fun to just mess around. Like there's no like there's not like one way of how to like finish your mission. You can do it however you want, which is a thing that, for example, Assassin's Creed needs a lot.
Yeah.
Ubisoft, you should learn from Metal Gear.
Yeah, so I guess that nicely sums up all the stuff we talked about. If you have different takes on these, what defines remake, remaster, if something is still a remake or remaster, or games you would like to see, don't hesitate to write a comment on YouTube, or don't forget to follow us on Instagram, where we are at Afterward Gamerscast, where we may post a story, maybe. What do you think? Where we would ask you what games you would like. Maybe you will get shared on our Instagram story. Who knows?
Yes, Spotify also just released a bunch of new features, like, for example, a poll or like a question to you. We can put a question on Spotify. You can make a comment on there. So
yeah, we
feel
will
free.
mess around with them, and feel free to share your opinion with us, regardless of those ways we mentioned. I think in the end, this all
comes to the big question.
question.
And since we talked about Far Cry for a little bit, just a minute ago, what is the definition of insanity?
It's doing the same thing all over again and believing something will change. I mean, I said it a little bit weird.
Yeah.
I don't have it written, but we all know this quote by heart if we are gamers or fans of Albert Einstein.
Yeah, we're not gonna say it the way Vas said it in the Far Cry 3 because no,
we're not as cool.
Yeah, we don't have Mohawk,
and we are not
faces.
as insane.
Yeah, we're not insane as him, so we're definitely not doing the same thing all over again, right?
Yeah, and that is a really nice question. If you do remakes badly, of course, people will still hate them. Duh.
Yeah.
And if you will continue pre-ordering bad games, guess what? They will still release bad games. So don't pre-order games.
just the current topic.
Yeah, don't
on
play
our
horror
podcast.
games. Buy the good ones. Follow us on social media. Reach us with your comment on your takes of what we talked in this episode. And yeah, have a great time. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Afterwork Gamers are Michal Jarásek and Matouš Planianský. If you enjoyed listening to our rambling, be sure to give us a follow on your favorite platform and don't forget to rate our podcast. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can leave a comment about the topics and we will try to answer. Follow us on our social media at Afterwork Gamers Cast. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you at the next one and don't forget that you can always game after work.